you have to understand how the debt ceiling, what is this debt ceiling is, right?
Okay.
And you have to understand what is the debt. What is the United States debt? I mean, explain what is the United States debt. Is the United States, I used to hear these stories where they China trillions and all that. Absolute nonsense. This is not true, right? So you have to understand what is the mechanism of the United States debt, right? And see, this is the reality of true physical responsibility when it comes to money, right? Which United States, fortunately, is a world leader of being transparent and honest and truthful. What truly is debt, right? But at the end of the day, the job of the Federal Reserve is that the Federal Reserve issues digital currency, right? Not as much as we think printed currency. They print printed currency,
Right.
but the majority for our currency is digital,
Yeah.
right? And so the money supply, which is, if we go for the paper money supply, is much more incrementally small than the digital supply.
Agree.
Right. Now, in sharp contrast, a lot of these countries you mentioned, they have a greater paper supply than they have a digital supply. And that goes back to the fact of confidence in printing garbage. Just print it, right? So when you look at the debt to the United States, when they go on this whole debt ceiling thing is a political toy. Because you're going to always increase the debt load because anyone realizes how you make money. You make money off debt.
Yeah.
Right. So the economy expands off of debt. The difference of a good economy and a bad economy, a good economy could service its debt. A bad economy can't service the debt. It just goes more and more into debt. I'll give you an example on all. Us, right? We struggle to service that debt. We borrow more money to pay our debt servicing than the money we borrow is going to be utilized to do anything other than pay debt servicing. So that's a standard of bad debt control management, end of the day. Then you go to the U.S., okay, you have the dynamics how debt is serviced, but the debt is serviced very easily, right? And this is where you go back to the old standard of talking about post-war the money that's the world currency, right? The United States' whole debt ceiling is a political posture game. Our debt ceiling is X amount of trillion. We reached that. We got to carry the federal debt ceiling up higher. But look, the economy is expanding, which means the debt liabilities and the revenue is increasing. The revenue is increasing exponentially, tremendously, which means the ability to service a greater debt load is there.
Okay.
Which means there's no cause for concern.
Oh, I see.
And the debt load is not actually a trigger to a default, the debt ceiling, right? It's not a trigger to a default because the debt ceiling is more of a political consensus among the Democrats and Republicans of what they've accepted. No one could go to jail for the debt ceiling being, going bad or going over or not being retained. There's no accountability to it, right? All they have to do politically is just ignore it, agree and increase it, etc., etc. At the end of the day, the job is still with the Federal Reserve, right, and the Treasury of the United States. So when we use this, it's almost like a couple political things. You hear people say, these guys, these guys. It's a talking point. It doesn't really have a true basis of saying that, we almost have the debt ceiling, they're going to expand it. Look, in my entire life, they've always expanded the debt ceiling. And who does the expansion? The politics. The politicians, they expand. They just increase a little bit more because of the paper from the Treasury. We need this X amount of money, and they increase it.
I get my TV time. I hold this person, this president to the fire. I get my little deals I want.
Right. It's a time for the whips, and the minority or leaders like the O'Connors and all that to have their green crowd stand. But if you look at their political career, these guys have been proponents of raising the debt ceiling more than us, right? So don't for it. Now, when you follow the true depth of the United States, you have to look at the basis of the economy, right? And you have to look at this economy that's a multi-trillion-dollar economy. And you have to look at the debt. We have this debt calculator that's running at a ridiculous number all the time, right? But see, the unique standard of the United States debt, it's in what currency? It's in the U.S. dollar, right? I could pay my own bills with my own money.
Which is a lot of people say that's problematic.
That's not problematic because a lot of these countries that we're talking about, they have external debt that's greater than, in truth, the entire GDP of their country. So that's a problem. America is as close to being in a financial dilemma, probably as close as Jesus actually popped on the bunny suit. It's such a so if you sit there believing this nonsense, you're gonna be sitting there for a long time. It's just not gonna happen. Now, if you're smart enough to take that information and say, I'm gonna party this into the capital markets, so I can do
Right.
when you can make a few dollars here or there, or lose a few dollars here or there. But it's not going to happen. But the debt, no, to me, has never been a massive concern in the United States. It's a political talking point. That's never going to change. Americans are always going to have that on the top of their agenda. Is always if it was such a big deal, you wouldn't have a $1.06 index on the dollar. You wouldn't have to shred of the dollar where the dollar is always at. Even through all of this turmoil, all of this nonsense, it's still fine. It's still okay. So, most countries' currencies would have broken in half by just a mere suggestion of a possible default. So, today it's all a play.